Welcome back. When Harvey hit us, we saw the best in people, but shortly after it passed, we started seeing the worst in people. Joining us now, we have Leonard Courtright, who is back, and Leah Napoliello, Better Business Bureau of Greater Houston. I'm sure I butchered that name, but and what we want to talk about right now is how people can stop from being taken advantage of. When we see this right here, we certainly understand the desperation that people have. But speaking of the Better Business Bureau, Allied has been a member since when?
1988, the same name and phone number with the Better Business Bureau, and still have an A+ rating. So we are a proud supporter of the Better Business Bureau. We believe there's no better third-party rating agency than the Better Business Bureau. You cannot buy a good rating. These things like Angie's List and Home Advisor, there's fees to the contractor to try to boost your ratings. With the Better Business Bureau, you are what you are. So we work hard to maintain a good Better Business Bureau record, and we think it's a great place for consumers to check.
All right, what does membership to the BBB mean?
Basically, membership means that you've agreed to our standards for accreditation, so you answer complaints, resolve them, take care of the customer. So really just making sure that you are on the up and up and not a scam, basically.
Yeah. And speaking of not a scam, when we see all this driving up and down the street, your heart goes out to all of these people who are dealing with this kind of rebuilding process. We've already seen like a lot of organizations come out and say we're raising money for Harvey victims. You suggest that we check and make sure they're legitimate organizations.
Right, exactly. Always check to make sure before you give, because there are many scams out there that are taking advantage of people. So before you donate, investigate the charity, make sure that it meets our standards for charity accountability too as well.
Okay, and then how to report grievances.
Right, you can file a complaint with the BBB at bbbhouston.org. There's an online process for doing that. As long as you file in writing, then you can hopefully get a response from the business through that.
Yeah, all right. And Leonard, people get really creative, and one of the things that they do is they kind of pull up people's heartstrings and their anxiety. You've seen this one out there when they say, here's the deal, we can get all this done for this price, or if you pay cash, we can get it done for this price.
Yeah, we had a lady call our office, and you know, you're right, Deborah, to most of us this is sad. To some people it's an opportunity, unfortunately. So we had an elderly lady call the office, and she was asking questions, should I pay cash?
The good thing is she was asking questions.
She was asking questions, and that's what we encourage people, just educate yourself. Take some time and do some education. She said, well, they're going to give me a receipt if I pay cash. And I felt, oh my goodness, that is just not going to give you peace of mind.
It's worth as much as the paper's written on,
exactly.
Right?
So you just do not want to trust an out-of-state storm chaser. And when you check their BBB, if their record is in Michigan or Pennsylvania or wherever, that's where they're from, and they're coming here to perhaps to take advantage. So you want to hire a local company. More than anything, start with a local contractor.
Yeah, but the thing about when you hear pay cash up front versus charging it, you got to think about that. It's kind of a red flag, because chances are they could take off with that.
Absolutely. I don't know of at least one person that doesn't have one experience in their life of a bad home improvement project. Now even more so, particularly with out-of-state companies. So we tell people don't pay anything up front, let alone cash. One good mark of a good contractor too is somebody that offers financing. So these banks and finance companies really do their thorough checking on the contractor before they'll partner with them. So we're partnered with Synchrony Financial, one of the largest financial companies in the world. So it gives a consumer peace of mind. Not only do they have access to financing, 18 months no interest, but that we've been vetted by them as well. So a contractor that says, Mrs. Jones, I take credit card or cash, really is a warning sign, particularly when they want it up front.
Okay. The other thing, you mentioned folks from out of town. It's not that if you are from out of town, that you are meaning to cause any harm.
Yeah.
There are lots of national companies that sent folks down here as well. But you got to look at things like you were with your printer the other day, and he said, yeah, I'm printing a lot of business cards.
Yeah, I saw him at lunch, and he said he had people lined up at his door getting the smallest number of local business cards they could. You know, after Ike, we did over 1,000 homes after Ike, so this is not our first rodeo, unfortunately. So we know how this works. After Ike, I told customers, look at the license plate of the vehicle. Well, as you may have heard, there's a deal out there now where they can print what looks like a new car license plate and put it over their out-of-state plate.
Because of all the flooding.
So what we're telling customers is ask for their driver's license. They probably didn't think to change that, or they can't do it right away. And when they have that Michigan driver's license, they're probably, and you're right, Deborah, we will bring people in from outside the market, but hire them under a local contractor. Don't hire an individual out-of-state directly. If they're from out of state, that's okay.
Yeah,
there's not enough labor here to do it.
If they're from out of state, they might belong to a Better Business Bureau in another state too.
Correct.
They can check that.
Right, you can check on our website, BBB Houston, for businesses located out of state as well.
Yeah, but you knew some people might have been up to no good when they were getting those business cards printed and asking your printer, hey, can we use your address?
Yeah, they ask, can we use your address, or do you know of a place that has post office boxes? But see, people will be afraid, as they should be, of a post office box. They're looking for the street address. So, I mean, there's just people, unfortunately, that are trying to take advantage. But trust a local contractor. We've been here for 30 years. Trust them, it's going to be here.
Can I call you when someone picks up the phone?
That's right, exactly.
Okay,
That's right.
What about websites? We know we've got gotten sophisticated with those as well.
Well, you know, after Ike, we used to say that too, is that make sure they have a website. Well, you can, you know, my 10-year-old, somebody can put up a website overnight now, right? So you really can prop up a website. To me, I think the best thing you can do right now is look at their driver's license. Again, they probably haven't had time to change it, or they didn't think about changing it.
Yeah. Also, who is your crew? Like, you have a right to ask companies, they may be a legitimate company, but who do they hire to get the work done?
Sure, you can definitely ask those types of questions to know who they're working with, any subcontractors they may have too. Definitely ask those questions.
Yeah. Leonard, on the kind of who's working with you.
Yeah, so again, we may bring people in from out of the area, but at Allied, you know that they're going to be hired under our auspices. That means they'll have our background check, they'll have our factory certified training. The fact is, there's going to be more labor needed for the next year and a half than is available. But a couple things. You want somebody legitimate, but you also don't want somebody that was doing, you know, fast food work yesterday, and now they're going to come in and rebuild the inside of your home. You want to make sure it's done right.
Somebody has a resume.
Yeah, that has factory training and has been background checked. They will be in your house for quite a period of time. You want to make sure it's a trustworthy person through a trustworthy contractor, and the BBB is a great resource to check that.
Yeah, and this is a case where patience is a virtue, and I know that's so hard. It's so hard right now because people want to get back in and make it like it was or make it better. But patience is something that it can work for you here.
Yes, exactly. You need to take your time to do your research, make sure that it's a reputable company. Don't just hire the first contractor that approaches you, especially if they come to your door and you don't know who they are. They're basically a stranger to you, so you don't want to hire them.
Yeah, and basically, if somebody's coming to your door, Leonard, you said that's another thing that can be kind of a red flag, because you mentioned there's much less labor than is needed right now. If somebody is trying to get you to hire them, in that way, you might want to listen to that.
The good people are employed. That's the bottom line.
Yeah.
It's the ones that may be fringy, that are you know, looking for day labor work, knocking on your door, and all that can be okay when it's under the auspices of a proper contractor. Like I said, we'll have to bring people in. Everybody will, the good contractors, but make sure they're working for a good local contractor.
Yeah. All right. There's contractors, and then there's contracts. And what should we look at when we have contracts on work to be done?
You should always get a written contract. Make sure everything is spelled out very clearly in writing. There are no blank spaces, and if you don't understand anything on the contract, then don't sign it at that point.
Yeah, and get a copy. Make sure you have your copies, right?
That's right. And again, getting a receipt is not a contract. You know, just to say I received so many dollars in cash or whatever is not a contract. We've seen a lot of competitor contracts, unfortunately, and a great point. They're just blank documents, and essentially they're writing down the minimum scope of work that they can quote-unquote promise to get the contract.
Yeah.
Whereas you need a very thorough checklist of all the work that's to be done. Now's not a time to spend the money to do work again twice, or to devalue your home by having it done wrong the first time.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, the other thing you said about money up front, there are some contractors that just to make sure that they are you know, taken care of as well, will ask for a portion up front. Is that fair?
Yeah, there's what's called staged funding, and that absolutely is fair. As you see progress beginning to occur, or perhaps the day materials are delivered, you know that they've invested in your house, so then making progress payments is okay. But asking for money before they've lifted a finger is just absolutely a big red flag, and I learned that from the BBB years ago. You just don't want to. But listen, it's the reasonable way to trust people. I think of our homeowners as if it was my parents. Both of them are passed away, unfortunately, but if they're elderly and they don't know any better, they're just desperate to get their house back, I'm not going to prey on them and try to get some money out of them first.
Yeah, unfortunately, some people will,
Yes.
so better be safe than sorry. All right, we'll be right back.